Hello, 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 everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to S. Dawn Premiere. This is a space for inspiration, motivation, and accountability because we all need that, especially for my ladies who I believe are on individual journeys to discovering their goddess allure, beauty, and charm. It is my desire to help and encourage women to be powerful in purpose and to live out their dreams and goals in peace, joy, and in calm flow. No more of this hustling and bustling, ladies. All of this trials and tribulations and turmoil, all the drama. Let's try to get rid of it and let's learn how to just kind of calm down and just kind of breathe easy through our lives, if at all possible. Let's make a conscious effort to do that. So before we get into the video, please, please, please like the video. Okay, like the video and share it. Be sure to subscribe here on Eston Premiere. And also be sure to like Eston Premiere on Facebook and make sure you are following Eston Premiere on Instagram. It's go time, baby. So like the title says, we are talking about Tyler Perry's new movie, A Fall from Grace. You are not judging enough, is what I say after I saw this movie. So I didn't even have time to really get myself together for this video. Like, I didn't even get dressed up or put in makeup or anything, but I digress. I just wanted to get into it before I forgot all my thoughts. And I took notes. I took notes while I was watching this movie because I saw so many topics that were discussed without being discussed in the movie. So before I get started, I'm not going to talk about the whole movie. I'm only going to talk about the different subtle topics that were brought up in the movie that weren't necessarily addressed. And then I'm going to talk about the first 3 months of dating that the main character experiences with her new love interest. Okay. So this particular movie is about a woman. Her name is Grace Waters, and she's disheartened after her divorce from her husband, who she had discovered was having an affair. They divorce, the husband leaves, ends up marrying the woman that he had an affair with. So this has been very difficult for her, and she is angry and mad and all the things that are human, after a breakup like that or a loss like that. It doesn't have to be a loss, but a loss nonetheless. So she ends up meeting another gentleman who lights her fire and actually opens her up to the possibility of loving again. Okay. So that's pretty much the gist of the movie. And unfortunately, this gentleman, um, the relationship with him kind of turns sour and goes kind of left, and all of that meek mild love and sweetness that Gracie once had goes out the window and things turn a little bit violent. So let's get into it. First of all, I'm just going to touch on some subtle topics that weren't necessarily discussed in depth in the movie, but just some things that I took from it personally that I believe that women need to always be thinking about. Not stressing about, but just kind of keeping in mind as you navigate through life, whether you're single, in a long-term relationship, or even if you're married, something to think about. So, Grace and her friend Sarah, who is played by Felicia Rashad, they're having a conversation in the kitchen at the beginning of the movie. And one of the very first things that comes up out of Felicia Rashad's mouth is the concept of aging and the loss of youth. So many women deal with this um, in various ways. Most of the time, though, women don't deal with it from a very positive perspective. The way that Felicia Rashad describes it in the movie is she says something along of, the loss of youth and not being, young and vibrant anymore, and growing up and ending up living with a bunch of old ladies in your house with a bunch of cats, right? And that's just kind of the vision that's kind of set for, an older woman. And then if she just so happens to be like single or divorced or maybe even a widow, it's like a double blow because it's like, what happened to my life? The point here is this. Something that I looked at when I was watching the movie and that particular point came up is, ladies, always know that aging is coming for you, or the wall. When we hit the wall, like after the age of 35, 36, 37, aging is coming for you, honey. It's coming for your edges. It's coming for your skin. It's coming for your energy and your vitality. So make sure you are drinking your water and minding your business. How do you mind your business? Well, you mind your business by drinking your water, eating well, and making sure you're staying as active as possible, because the bottom line is this. A lot of times you start to have problems in your relationship because you're losing your youth and your vitality, and it may not seem fair. It may seem superficial and shallow, but your guy wants you to do your best to maintain a certain level of beauty, vitality, you know, uh, a Goddess Allure, beauty and charm, if you will. So just kind of, think about that, because when I was looking at these two ladies in the kitchen, I'm like, I thought they looked good for their age, but at the same time, they also looked like they were letting life get the best of them, right? You ever heard the concept of, I don't look like what I've been through? And this is not to live in a delusional space in life, but it's more of a, no matter what I'm going through, I'm going to take care of my body. I'm going to take care of my appearance. I'm going to do my best to take care of myself. And I'm not going to subject myself to just being a lonely woman in a house with a bunch of cats. So that's just one of the little subtle points that I thought was, that's something to think about. Another point was regretting not having what you thought you should have at your age. So Felicia Rashad also brings up the fact that in the movie, she brings up the fact that, you know, Grace probably felt like the new wife to her husband is living her life. Even though Grace was living well, she had her own home, had her own everything. And oh my God, I'm going to get into that later. Even though she had her own stuff, she still looked at her husband and kind of envied the new marriage that he had to this younger woman in their old house, as greater, as better. She felt like this woman is living my life, my dream. When it's like, okay, bad things could happen in your relationship, you know. But first and foremost, get this. A lot of times men are going to move on much faster than you do, ladies. And you have to be ready and prepared. Um, uh, Not necessarily prepared. I don't want you to feel like while you're inside of your relationship that you need to be preparing to move on to the next thing. But you just need to have that understanding that, hey, sometimes things don't work out. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a breakup. Somebody could pass away, God forbid. You can become a widow. You can lose a boyfriend. But there is life after that. And you should take care of yourself first and always as such. Okay? You should take care of your mind, body, and your spirit, so that if there is a loss, you can mourn the loss gracefully and you can still be able to move on, you know, still empowered and still with belief and love for yourself, not resentful and bitter and just in a space of loss, like eternal loss, like, oh my God, I'm never going to come out of this. She was doing Grace was doing a comparison with, this other woman, and it's understandably so, because that was her husband, so it is fair. But at the same time, ladies, once it's over, it's over. It's like you have to train your brain, train your mind, and train your heart. I've talked about this in another video, how you have to train your brain, train your mind, train your heart, that it's time to say goodbye to yesterday and it's time to get back out there and start to move on. I'm going to talk about an issue with that though for Grace, because she had been married for an extended period of time. And a lot of times when a woman is married or in a long-term relationship and it ends, she doesn't know where to start. She doesn't know how to date. She doesn't know how to vet a man because she's never had to. She's been in this committed relationship that she thought was going to last forever. So if it ends, she feels like it's the end of the world. It's like, now what do I do? Meanwhile, she will, and you will, ladies, watch your man move on with the quickness. Like she made the comment, Grace said, oh God, why? Oh, what's the comment? It stuck out. She said, and get this. She said, I felt like he just moved on with his life and I was just like a speed bump that was in the way. Message, message. I'm not saying that men look at us like we're speed bumps, but a lot of times when you give your all and you pour yourself into a man trying to be all that you can be, and then if it doesn't work out and you watch him move on with the quickness and you're just sitting here lost, you feel like a speed bump. One of the ways to kind of avoid that is not doing the comparison game to other people per se, and taking care of yourself first and foremost always. You know, taking care of your mind, body, and spirit, having your own personal interests, and always, always, always knowing how to make new friends and develop new relationships. Because he's going to develop a new relationship when it's time to exit stage left. And he's going to do it rather quickly. So I'm just saying, get into the habit of taking care of yourself and knowing how to socialize. So, another concept that I discovered in the movie was the concept of oversharing. Oversharing on a first date. Oh my God, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Or oversharing even sometimes with friends and family. Giving people too much details about your struggles and your woes. Listen, when you tell people your struggles, as much as they listen to you and they want to feel for you, some people, especially if they're as shady as a couple of people in this particular movie, they will use your struggles and your woes against you because maybe they want something from you. Okay? Or even if they don't want something from you, even the well-meaning people will use your struggles and your woes against you. What does that look like? When you break up with a man or you go through something with him and you done told your besties and your family and anybody who would listen, and then you get back with him and y'all like this in the pictures. Well, you have obviously forgiven him, but everybody else is like this. Everybody else is kind of always looking at you like, are you really happy? Are you really okay? Is everything all right? You know, they're kind of doing that, and they're just always kind of like, you know, now, not that it's really any of their business, because it's not at the end of the day. Just know, just understand that when you are oversharing and just giving everybody all kinds of access to the very personal and private details of your life, you kind of, you know, set yourself up for people to hold you to it and to possibly even use it against you. I'm not saying live in fear. I'm just saying that just be very careful about how you overshare, because Grace did this. Grace, in my opinion, she definitely overshared with her new love interest, and I believe that she overshared even with her best friend, you know. So you just gotta be careful with that. You know, some things are in-house, meaning in here and in here for you and for God. All right. It's not for everybody. The whole point is for you to always be taking excellent care of yourself and positioning yourself to be able to move forward in life in a very productive way that's not going to hold you back. And sometimes oversharing can hold you back, because when you're trying to move on, you know, even when you're trying to move on, the people who know the stories are always kind of like, you know, they might be kind of reminding you of the stories a little bit, and just kind of, you know, just kind of maybe even looking at you sideways. Or if they're dusty like dude in this movie, they're using it so they can get information or so they can figure out how to take advantage of you and use you. It happens. Another point, and I think I already said this, how fast men move on and feeling like you're just a speed bump. I just already talked about that. Look, guys are a little bit different than us. Not saying that they won't mourn a loss. They will mourn a loss. Listen to old songs and you will hear grown men crying on the record about some woman that broke their heart. Um, Michael Jackson wrote a song about it. She's out of my life. He obviously went through a breakup, but he then ended up writing another record later on that said, "You'll always be the lady in my life." See, they move on, and a lot of times they move on very quickly, and that's devastating to women a lot of times because it's like, well, dang, did I ever exist? Did you ever love me? Well, another point that was made in the movie is where the love interest says to her, "I love you. I do love you, but I will never love you the way that you love me." Hold on for a second. Y'all know that right there, it's a sip tea moment. Mm. He told her, "I love you, but I will never love you the way that you love me." Ladies, listen, get that in your whole entire spirit. Get it in your whole entire spirit if you can. Lord, get it in your spirit because it's important for you to understand that men love very differently from us. When we love with all our heart and all our passion and all our soul and our entire existence and our being. And God forbid if we get married to that man and we start to have his baby, oh my God, we are just like all in. We'll do anything for that man. Move him into our house. Come on, Grace. But she didn't know. She ain't had nobody to tell her. But yeah, they kind of don't love us the way that we do, which is one of the reasons why that they are able to move on as fast as they do in comparison to us. Because we got to take 5 years to figure out what went wrong, and then we got to find ourselves, and then we have to waste a lot of time and get older and continue to age and continue to lose our youth while we're getting over this man. Meanwhile, he done got married 6 months after we broke up. Just something to think about, ladies. The movie is Tyler Perry, or a Tyler Perry original. We know Tyler Perry, and we know how those movies can be, and they're entertaining for what they are. Get the message, get the meat from those movies and spit out the bones. And there is a lot of meat in this particular movies, especially for women, if you want to learn how to move when you're dealing with men. And even if whether you're single or dating or married, there's a lot of meat in this movie, a lot of messages, in my opinion. Another concept that I saw in this movie was women, we fall in love with ear freaking. We are wooed by words. Oh, this woman was wooed by words. And it's so sad for her because it's just like, come on, Grace. But you know what? The sad thing about it is Grace didn't know. She just didn't know. And when you're in a relationship for a long time, you don't know how to date. You don't know what to look for. You don't understand. You're vulnerable and you're weak and you're sad and you just want to just feel special and feel good again. You're caught up in your feelings. You're looking for a man to make you feel good. And so men know that. They know that you're looking for a little bit of feel good, and they know how to give that to you in a way that makes you feel like, oh my God, he's the one. But listen, you can't fall in love with the words, ladies. You gotta fall in love with the actions because they know just what to say. This kind of leads me back to the oversharing part. See, when you overshare with him, he knows exactly what to say back to you to make you feel better. One of the first things she said to him on their first date was, "I'm divorced and I caught my husband cheating on me with his secretary." Nobody told her. Why do you want to give him that information? That is like score for him. He's like, yes. Come on, damaged woman. Come on, broken heart. I'm going to have fun with this woman because she's damaged. She's brokenhearted. I know just what to say. I'm sorry that happened to you. So sorry that happened to you. Stop oversharing and beware of all that ear freaking. Listen, okay? The other thing, and I think that this is the main point of the movie, what would have helped Grace eliminate all of the drama is, and I had to write this down, get in touch with your anger, your resentment, your bitterness, and your fear of being forgotten about, and your fear of being alone. Grace was struggling with that. She was struggling with her anger and her resentment, but she wasn't getting in touch with it. What do I mean by that? Okay, she was just being angry. She was being upset. She was just being resentful. She was fearing being alone, and she was just fearing being forgotten about. Because she even felt some kind of way about her own son being married. It let me know, at least in my opinion, it let me know that, okay, you feel like not only did your husband leave you, but you also, in some kind of subconscious, interesting way, and I think that there are many single mothers who do this with their sons. I don't know. I don't want to go there because I don't have sons, so I will never understand that mother-son bond. But it's like you're counting on your son to always be there, like you're trying to kind of get your son to replace the loss of the man. But then when he moves on with and gets married himself, you're looking at his wife like, I don't like her. Like, she didn't like the wife. We don't know why, but I digress. She was not in touch with it. When I say get in touch with your anger, get in touch with your resentment and bitterness, I mean getting in the mirror. Like I always say in most of my videos, I always put it back on you ladies, because at the end of the day, it's all on you. Beyonce told us a long time ago, that's my boo, that me, myself, and I, that's all I've got in the end. And I found out that there ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on, I'm going to be my own best friend. You have to be your own best friend. You have to get in the mirror and say, girl, I know you're angry. I know you're sad. I know you're resentful and you're bitter about this breakup or the ending of this particular relationship. And I know you are probably enraged on the inside. It's time to go see a therapist. Let's start working on that. Let's start working on it and working through it. Let's start admitting it to ourselves and just go ahead and get the help and get it out, right? I already talked about oversharing. If you're oversharing, you might be oversharing to the wrong people. You're oversharing to some new man you're dating now. All he's doing is writing down a list of all your woes and coming up with ways to get what he wants from you, whether it's your sweet cookies or maybe access to your finances or your home or whatever you got going on. He want to be attached to you in some way. And if he's not a, a competent, respectful man, he's going to use that information against you. It is what it is, okay? And even if he is a competent, respectful man, he's going to use that information against you because he wants to know if you qualify for the kind of woman he wants. Again, he judging you, okay? So when you're walking around with all of this bitterness and this anger and stuff over this breakup or this divorce, just understand you're carrying that energy and people can feel it, especially the new person that you're dating, especially your girlfriends, especially your family. So if you want to overshare, don't tell them. Go talk to a therapist who can help you work through that emotional and mental baggage that you're carrying around. Okay? The other thing. All right. The other thing, I want to talk about the first date. Okay? The first date. All right. So the first date is kind of interesting because this guy is supposed to be a photographer, okay, who has been to, I forget what country it was. He's been to Africa and he had done some photography work there, and he was a military brat, supposedly, who's traveled the world. He's been to so many places. He's so, well versed and well traveled, but he's very much younger than Grace. Okay. Um, Kind of like a red flag number one. So, all right, before I get into the red flags that I felt like came up on this first date, hold on for a minute. Let me get my little charger. Okay. I don't want my phone to turn off while I'm running my mouth. Okay, let's see if we can get this all the way in order. Sweet. All right. Let me backtrack real quick because I don't think I finished my point. I think I kind of distracted myself. I told you I was going to be all over the place with this video. Getting in touch with your anger and resentment and stuff. The reason it's important to do that is because you have to know what triggers you, okay? And you have to know and understand that, okay, hey, I might still be feeling sad and I might still be very vulnerable and I might be putting that energy out. Let me be mindful and careful of that when I'm socializing and when I'm meeting people. And if I'm going to be on dates and exploring new relationships, because I need to make sure that I'm not acting desperate. I need to be sure that I'm not acting needy. I need to make sure that I'm not expressing myself like a woman with a ton of baggage. I need to make sure that I'm not coming off, extremely thirsty and in a position where I am giving this individual fuel to take advantage of me. And guess what? And not only just to take advantage of me, but let me make sure I'm not giving off energy where I am coming off like I'm crazy and blaming him for the mistakes of some other man. You'll do that too if you haven't gotten in touch with your anger and your resentment and everything that you're mad about regarding your past relationship. My point for bringing that up was for that, just to say you need to get in touch with it so you can know where you're vulnerable and where you're weak. See, Grace in the movie, in my opinion, she was not getting in touch with her anger and her resentment. Her own friend Sarah had to say, no, just say it. Say you're mad about it. Say you're upset about it. You have to say it and you have to know it and you have to understand where your weaknesses are coming from, where you're vulnerable. You got to know where your Achilles heel is, because people are going to pounce on it. They coming for it, especially as a woman, if you're out here exploring, a new relationship, just like Grace was in this movie. But she didn't understand that. She didn't understand, okay, I'm very vulnerable. It's going to be real easy for a man to try to ear freak me into my pants or into my wallet. Let me be careful of that, because I know me. I know I feel lonely right now, but this too is going to pass. I'm working on this. You know, she had no clue. She all she was mad and bitter, but she needed a friend like me to tell her, you mad and you're bitter and you need to work on that right now, because if you don't, your vulnerability and your weakness is going to show and you're going to make it very easy for some man to take total advantage of you and possibly ruin your life. So, moving right along, coming back. Sorry, guys. Back to the first date. So, the red flags. Now, they're red flags to me because I've had people tell me and school me about red flags. When I watch this movie, I don't look at Grace like, oh my God, this is like the most stupid woman ever. Why would she do this? Why would she allow this to happen to her? Why wouldn't she? She doesn't know any better. You don't know what you don't know. And one of the things we have to do as ladies is just as people is stop beating yourself up for what you don't know. You cannot hate yourself for information that you just didn't have. And when I look at Grace in the movie, she just didn't know. She doesn't know how to date. No one's ever talked to her about how to vet men. She's been married. 9 times out of 10, judging from the movie, she's been in a committed relationship. At least she was committed in the relationship. She's been all into one man and into her son. She don't know nothing about no dating. She don't understand that, wow, I can really get used and abused, scammed and conned just by oversharing, being too caught up in my feelings instead of using my head, understanding that my instincts, when they speak loudly, I need to listen to them. Like she doesn't understand any of that. So in some ways, I feel for her. I feel for her. I don't look at her as, oh, she's so dumb. No, she's not dumb. She just doesn't know. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. So, back to this guy who's supposedly a photographer who had traveled the world, who was a military brat, been all over, well experienced, yet he's much younger than Grace, right? But she doesn't have anybody in her life telling her, um, you are a seasoned woman. You are experienced, you're wiser, you've had a family and a marriage. You need to wonder what a young man wants with you. What does he want with you? Did you tell him about your home? Did you tell him about your income? What kind of income does he have? The same way men try to look at us like, what do they bring to the table? Sidebar, we are the table. A woman is the table, but I digress. You look at him like, okay, well, what does he bring to the table, this young man? Why is he so into me? Um, what makes him so into me? For, if you over 40 years old and you got this 30 something looking at you, you should be asking yourself why. What is he trying to do? Okay? You need to be kind of figuring that thing out. So just that's something to think about. He's much younger than her, and she never questioned that. Why? Because she just wanted to feel good. This is what happens when you're depressed after a breakup and you just want to feel good. Okay? You stop thinking. All right. So the other thing is now, and this is just for me because I'm an older woman. I pride myself on getting ready to turn 40, y'all. I'm so excited about it. Just get ready. March is coming and I cannot wait. So I'll tell y'all my cash app later. Okay. So anyway, so he sends her a picture after meeting her at this art opening that he had pictures of his photography, right? There's one picture that she likes very much, and he sends it to her, and he's flirting with her, and she's so, oh my God, he's flirting with me. I'm so, blah blah blah. Oh, I'm gonna try my best not to do too much spoilers, but I'm only talking about the first few couple of dates that are the red flags. But when she gives in and calls, because he leaves his number, he's like, yeah, I won't accept a thank you over the phone. I want to meet with you over dinner. Yeah, I know this quaint hole in the wall diner. To all my seasoned ladies, and perhaps this is just for me, a gentleman who has traveled the world, who just got back from taking pictures in Africa, is likely not going to invite you to a quaint, hole in the wall diner for your first date. But if you haven't been out in a very long time and you don't know, you'll probably accept that and actually feel special. When you watch the movie and you watch this date and look at the scenery of it, you'll see why me personally, uh, it wasn't quite working for me. But the reason it wasn't working for me is because, wait a minute, you travel the world? You just got back from taking pictures in Africa? and you're bringing me to a diner. I don't know. But Grace doesn't know. She doesn't understand to ask these questions. So she gives a little bit too much information about her divorce, oversharing. I just talked about this. She gets all of this info on her first date. Ladies, don't do that. Stir clear of too much info on the first date. Like, just enjoy yourself, chill, right? And if you're gonna, be offering up details, get details from him too. He asked her everything he needed to know in order to get everything he wanted, and she didn't ask him anything. She didn't ask him anything of value. So other than photography, what is it that you do? Oh, where do you live? Oh, okay. Because we only see them on that particular day. We only see him, walking her home. We only see them like maybe getting a hot dog from a hot dog stand and on a picnic. But you fly around the world doing photography. Okay, so um you travel around the world, and we're going to hole in the wall diners and we're picking up hot dogs from hot dog stands. I'm not real sure. Okay. She never says to him anything like, I would love to see the work from all of the pictures that you've taken from around the world. Are you in any of these pictures of you around the world? Because ladies, it's real easy to print pictures from around the world, put them up in a frame, and have your own little art gallery happening. Or you can take someone else's work and do the same. This is why you got to ask questions, lady. You got to stop telling all your stuff and you got to start asking questions, okay? Key point here. On this date, he specifically tells her, I never want to get married. I never wanted the responsibility. Okay, boom, right there. Say no more, sir. Because see, ladies, at this point, whether you want to get married or not, you already know where he kind of stands on that very important matter. And that is now your cue to determine, where do you stand on this very important matter? And is it the same? Right? And spoiler alert, he does ask her to marry him 3 months later. Wait a minute, sir. I thought you never wanted to get married. I thought you didn't want the responsibility. I'm going to have to decline right now. We need more time. This is going too fast. I'm not real sure. I'm just saying, okay? All of the key things that are the red flags happened to this woman. She started to trust him quickly. This is what she says. She started to trust him quickly, but she didn't know why. Why? I don't understand why. This is your instinct. Something's off. It's time to listen. Okay. Um, he knew what to say. Oh my God, he had that ear freaking down. He was telling her all the right stuff. Ladies, you gotta stop getting caught up in that ear freaking. Some of y'all are out here getting caught up in ear freaking. Everything he say is gold. Everything he says. He said so many nice things to me. He was so nice and gentle to me. Well, what else is he supposed to do if he's trying to get something from you? Be a jerk? Most people don't want to be a jerk. Most people want to be polite. And that's just people. But imagine a man who is interested in your house, your income, your money, or your cookies. Imagine what else is he going to say to you? How else is he going to treat you? He going to be nice. That's what he's supposed to do. We don't get excited over that, ladies. Your goddess allure, beauty, and charm won't even allow you to be impressed because he's so nice. He's so kind. So he asked her questions that give her pause, like, so your ex owns a mortgage company? And she even had to ask him, why are you on that? Yeah, like who asked that? And he, of course, he tries to play it up like, well, I'm just trying to see if he's still around, if y'all still talk. No, he's trying to figure out what kind of bag you connected to, ma'am. He says key things, key things. Unlike me, he is rich, talking about her ex-husband, and so are you, ma'am. He just told you, I don't really have no money, but I think you have money. Translation, I don't have anything, but you sound like you have everything, lady. I'm definitely about to jump on board with you. All right. But see, Grace don't understand that because she never had anybody to tell her. She doesn't know any better. This is why I feel bad for her. You know? So she even says to herself, I kept repeating to myself the things that he said, you know. Um, listen, nobody cares about what he says. Ladies, nobody cares about what he says. You do not care about what he says. You care about what he does. Okay? You don't fall in love with words. You're not wooed by words, and you don't fall in love with orgasms either. She said it. She said all kinds of alarms were going off. She had fear. She was like, I'm too old. Is he leading me on? Does he want something? Maybe. This is your cue to do your own due diligence, lady, and find out. But she didn't. No due diligence. Didn't find out. Didn't do her own research. And it kind of goes all downhill. Okay? She said she felt something. Ladies, here's the thing, and I had to write something. When you're dating, we don't move based on our feelings. That is what schoolgirls and college girls do. You know, they get giddy and they're all giggling. Oh my God, he likes me. He called me. Oh my God, he sent me some flowers. That's what women with no game do. They get excited about words. They're wooed by words. They are moved by words. But when you're a grown woman, you are not. Okay? When you become a woman, you learn to balance those feelings with logic, because the bottom line is this. As a woman, we do feel very deep. We feel everything. Everything can set our heart on fire, but we need to learn how to temper and tame that thing. Oh my God, I'm feeling so excited. Hold up. How long have I known this person? He said this, but does it look like this? You have to balance those feelings with logic. You do. Otherwise, you set yourself up for disaster and can possibly end up with your life ruined. Okay? Um, you're always in a space once you're an older woman where you're always asking the question, what's really going on? Okay? What's really going on? The other thing that she does on one of her dates when they're walking is, she goes on and on about how proud she is of her home, shows this man her home. She's telling him, nobody's in my house. You know, ain't nobody in my house. I bought my own house, she said. She said, I refurbished my house myself. Ma'am, TMI, why are you showing this man your house and telling him all your business about your house? And you haven't even asked about his house. Like, where do you live, sir? How many homes do you own? Where's your land? Where's your savings, your investments? She's not interested in none of that because all she want to do is feel good. See? Feel good. She felt like everything was so magical, and All she's just feeling so on high over these first 3 months. And then all of a sudden, now he wants to get married. She finds him on one knee, and it never occurs to her that on date one, he said, I never wanted to be married. I did not want the responsibility. Because see that at that point, she's supposed to say, sir, thought you didn't want to get married. What has changed? What makes me so marvelous that you now want to get married? But she didn't know because all she wants to do is feel good. And she's so nice, and she's so sweet and to him, and she all in. And they're married. And that's when the scam and the con is on. And I won't get too much deeper into that. But, you know, I mentioned this earlier that at some point in the movie, after they're married, he does tell her, you see, I love you. I'm just never going to love you the same way you love me. That is so real, y'all. That's so real, ladies. That's so, so real. You know, that's why you got to be careful about how you give and share who you are, and how you give and share your heart and your mind and your body and your soul. Because you have to always understand that you're a woman, and so the way you share is a little bit different than a man sometimes, okay? Most people are being nice to you, especially men. They're being nice to you because a lot of times they do want something. They ain't no man meeting you just to be like, girl, I just love your mind. Man, you just amazing. Yeah. No. He wants a lot more always. And it is up to you to determine what kind of value you put on everything you have, from your body to your bank account. What kind of value do you put on everything you have? What kind of value do you put on who you are? Grace didn't understand her value. She had no idea of who she was. And it's so sad because so many women don't. That's why we end up in relationships where we allow for that kind of foolishness that she allows into her house. She moved a whole man into her house. Ladies, if you know what I know, don't you ever do that. I don't care how much help he needs. You don't help grown men. Grown men don't need help. Grown masculine men figure out life on their own. Because when you do that, you set yourself up to fail. We saw this in this movie. We also saw this in Acrimony. Get into it. Listen. My takeaway from just this piece of the movie with the dating and everything is simply this, right? You are not judging enough. You have to judge him. And if you don't want to feel like you're judging him, just simply say, I'm vetting him. You have to vet him. You have to get beyond being depressed and sad and upset about an old relationship gone wrong and vet him. Stop feeling good and say, stop, skirt, halt. Who are you, sir? And why are you really here? You need to get to the bottom of that. You need to stop, turn off your ear to the ear freaking and watch what he's doing. Take excellent care of yourself first and always. Learn how to socialize and always be prepared to make new friends. Don't be a hermit, because if the relationship don't end, then you're going to feel lost in the desert by yourself. Okay? Stop expecting perfection in yourself and others. People aren't perfect. People will fall and make mistakes, and you must learn how to adjust accordingly and embrace change. Sometimes you're going to have to start over, and you're going to have to move on quickly. But first and foremost, you're not judging enough. Judge who you want to bring into your personal, mental, emotional, and romantic space. All right? But you can only do that if you take care of yourself first. Get to the bottom of your depression. Get to the bottom of your heartbreak. Admit it. Get the help you need. Get it all out in the open and recognize your triggers. Understand when you're feeling vulnerable and lonely and desperate, and turn that energy off. Learn how to go out, have a good time, meet new people, enjoy yourself without all of the baggage and desperation written all over you. Because that's the thing that's going to attract the low level to you. That's going to attract the dusties. That's going to attract men to you who think you are, as he called her in the movie, low hanging fruit. He called her low hanging fruit, ladies. Okay? Called her weak. Called her lonely. Called her all of the things that you might feel because a relationship with sour. But I'm here to tell you, take care of yourself, drink your water and mind your business. Take care of your health. Listen, you don't have to look like what you've been through either. Continue to make a conscious effort to work on here and work on here, okay? And don't set yourself up by being, you know, everything to someone who isn't even a little bit to you, okay? Try not to get taken advantage of out there. Get some wise counsel, all right? Make sure you like this video, okay? Like it and share it, all right? Subscribe to S. Dawn Premier here on YouTube. Like S. Dawn Premier on Facebook. And follow S. Dawn Premier on Instagram. It's go time, baby.